Let's get her opened up. It's called the low vacuum bypass valve. It's held on by two 10mm bolts. All you gotta do is disconnect all these lines, unhook it, or unbolt it, and hopefully it comes out. If not, you gotta take out the entire supercharger, which I don't wanna do. To give myself a little room, the first thing we're gonna do is remove the intake, cold air intake. Throttle body bolt should be 8mm. Make sure you disconnect all the wires. This is the vacuum bypass valve right here. It's held on by two 10mm bolts back here, and it's got this metal rod that's gonna connect to the valve that's inside your supercharger, which is at the bottom of that hole right there. Right now, it's closed. Boy, it's oily in here. And all that oil's coming through that hole right there. Even though I have a separator, it still comes through. I don't know why. Guess I have to get a better one. But anyways, the vacuum bypass valve. If you have cams, there's not going to be enough vacuum at idle to open this. This is open at idle to allow the supercharger to not build boost. It opens the valve in there, and so the air is able to bypass the supercharger and go straight through there, and it's going to have a cooling effect on the air. It's going to be able to circulate, keep your supercharger cool at idle, make it last a heck of a lot longer. So at idle, the vacuum opens up. When you step on it, it should close like that, and then you're able to gain boost with that valve closed. So if you step on it and you're not getting any boost, this is probably the first thing I'd look at, is your valve isn't shutting. The vacuum pressure is not working to close this right here. I don't know if you could see this. Light is terrible. I couldn't go on top here because this bar's in the way, and then top the fuel rail's in the way. I don't want to take off the fuel rail, so I'm going to try to go underneath. Come on. And I'm not taking off the supercharger for sure. Okay. Alright, that's doing me no good. See, it should just slide out right here, just like this. But it won't. Why won't you? Has it got one on top or just the bottom? Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, you're kidding me. If I had to take the supercharger off, I'm gonna be so mad. I'm gonna be so mad. Alright, well, I removed the fuel rail. It didn't help. Now I gotta remove the dang supercharger. So I guess this is a video on how to remove your supercharger as well. First thing we gotta do is take off this expansion tank for the radiator so we can get to the tensioner for the supercharger belt. Alright, get supercharger belt off. As you can see, I already got it. If you look down here, hopefully you can see it. You just put the 3/8 socket or ratchet into there and push down. and it's going to free up just like that. All right, the next step, I guess, is going to be to take off the bar here. Let's see, guessing that's probably a 13 as well. That's always a good sound. Let's see. Oh, it's not light. And I have no... How am I going to get in there and pick it up? Ugh. Maybe? Oh. Woo. Oh, there it goes. That is ridiculous. This is why I couldn't get it off. It's got this little notch in it right here, and it's keyed into there. Only comes on one way, off and on one way. All right, I'm halfway through this process, and I know in the beginning I said you don't have to take the supercharger off. You absolutely do have to take the supercharger off. Here is the old one. This is the low vacuum, and this is the stock one. So the stock one, I believe they said is like 9 to 10 psi to close it, and there's a hefty spring in there, while this I think is 2 to 3 psi, and it feels like there's no spring whatsoever in there. It feels like it's just the rubber on there, while this, you could hear it, has got a pretty hefty spring in there. So that will allow this valve to close, like I showed you earlier. That will allow this valve to close and get all the air going through. So when it's idling, it should be open like that. Close for boost. All right, so we got everything taken apart, and now we're gonna start putting it back together, cleaning everything and putting it back together. All right, all this work just to do this. So you gotta line the teeth up here. And this right here is exactly why you have to take the supercharger off. Because the only way to get this key into that hole is like that. Then you gotta swing it back around. All right, we finally got it together. Now we're gonna see if we get it to start, if anything leaks, stuff like that. The fuel or the idle is gonna be high because it's still set for high idle from when it wouldn't idle down without dying. So we're just gonna start it up, see if anything leaks. What?
No, I'm just looking for the leak.
All right.